In this video, I'm going to show you how to take one piece of long-form content and turn it into a week of social media posts. And then I'm going to show you how to automate the entire workflow, so the next time you publish something new, you don't even have to remember to come back and start the process again. We will start with this and turn it into this. I'm going to demonstrate the whole workflow in WaveGen, which is a tool I'm building specifically for this. The process is basically take the source content, extract ideas, turn them into different formats, review, and schedule them for publishing. Let's start by doing it once manually, and then I will show you how to automate the whole thing with WaveGen for future content. I will also show you a trick to make sure all the content comes out consistent and on brand. So remember to stick to the end. The first step is simply choosing the long-form content you want to reproduce. That could be a blog post, newsletter, YouTube video, webinar transcript, or any other substantial piece of content. Some content can work better than others. I usually look for two things. First, it should be substantial. There should be enough useful information inside it so that AI can pull out several different ideas without making things up or leaving each piece very thin. Secondly, ideally, it should be about an evergreen topic. If the ideas are still useful a few months from now, I can keep distributing and reusing them. Now that I've chosen a source, the next step is figuring out what ideas inside it are actually worth turning into posts. And this is where I think a lot of content repurposing goes wrong. The easiest thing is to ask AI, turn this into 5 social media posts. But usually what you get is 5 slightly different summaries of the same article. What I want instead is multiple independent angles. One framework I like for this comes from Justin Welsh. It helps you look at the same source through a few different lenses. First, what can I teach? So basically a tutorial on a process tactic. And the second, what did I observe? So some surprising observation while doing this. Third, what do I believe differently? Contrarian take based on my experience. Fourth, what can I turn into a useful list? Like a list of any mistakes, tools, lessons from this. And last is, why did this happen? Explanation on the underlying reason behind this. You don't have to force every piece of content through all 5 lenses. The point is just that one substantial piece of content usually contains more than one story. After you have a few angles you like, the next step is deciding how each one should be presented. For example, corresponding to our previous 5 angles, for a tutorial post, we can do a carousel or use short videos to demo the process. And for the observation post, you could do a text post or a simple image post. Similarly, for the contrarian take post. For the list post, obviously, it's a carousel. And for the why post, you can still use a carousel or use a short video to do some storytelling. Now we have everything. Let's create a post. Feel free to use your favorite AI or Canva. I will be using WaveGen. It streamlined everything we talked about in a button click. I'll be using this LinkedIn article, which is an experiment I did. And it contains a lot of steps and screenshots. And if you are following the tutorial, you can use blog post, a newsletter, even a YouTube video link, or a Google Doc link. And we'll leave every options here as default and click on Make Posts. Let's see. It is working the steps we talked about. Cool. It created 3 posts. One is an image post showing the point of view. One is a tutorial post, pulling in the screenshots from the article in relevant steps, as you can see. And one is a list post on the pitfalls I learned throughout my whole experiment. It's all cool, but you can see all the colors and images are all over the place. If I'm going to post it on all the WaveGen accounts, it won't help with the brand leaving an impression for people. So now we're going to talk about how to make all future generated posts consistent and on brand. Brand context. You can create it manually or let WaveGen extract everything from your website. In WaveGen, I already have my logo, colors, fonts, brand voice. If you have a distinct visual style, you can also have some brand assets defined here to influence the images used in the final output. For demo purpose, I curated a few photos of similar style, and let's upload them. So the brand kit helps determine how the output should look and sound. So I don't have to explain all of that again every time I make something. And let's use the same article while applying the brand kit. Cool, we can see now the newly generated post have WaveGen's branding, WaveGen's color. It still tries to pull the images from the original source article, and when it needs new images, it tries to imitate the style defined in the brand kit. The last 2 steps are pretty straightforward. You review the posts generated and then put them into your publishing schedule. Things to watch out for while you review. For example, hooks. I might not get hooks right on the first try. For example, here, I think it took too long to get to the business. So I'm gonna delete the first part. Rest of the post sounds good to me. And the visuals. Maybe this is slightly boring. Let me switch to another image. I can use this image from my brand kit directly. And check the call to action in the end. So instead of spending 20 or 30 minutes designing a carousel from scratch, I'm spending a minute reviewing, and once I'm happy, I can schedule them to another day. That already removes a lot of manual work, but there is still one manual step left. Every time I publish something new, I still have to remember to come back here, paste the source, and start this whole workflow again. So now let's automate that too. Instead of manually give WaveGen a source every time, I can tell it where I normally publish and have it monitor there. For example, I have it monitor WaveGen's blog. I can have the brand kit and social accounts all ready. And so now WaveGen can watch for new content. When a new blog appears, it can automatically bring that source into the workflow. It will propose the angle, and it will also propose a format. List code is like a carousel. And then wait for my approval to generate the post. So now let's put the whole process together. We have the source, either bring it manually into WaveGen or let WaveGen detect automatically. extract multiple ideas with different angles, adapt ideas into different formats. And then we need to create the post with consistent brand context. That's a trick we talked about. And then you can review, use human judgment, and edit as needed. And finally, schedule for publishing. You can absolutely build this yourself with automation tools, connecting an AI model, Canva, and the publishing API. If you want a turnkey solution, you can also check out WaveGen as I demoed here. And I will also put the link in the description. And see you next time!